Good evening. Welcome to the Sulk stream. I'm your host, the Incredible Sulk, or John, or whatever you want to call me by, cult leader, whatever. There's the cat. She has to join in, of course, because there's no way of keeping her off of the show. She's a very important character. Thanks so much for coming. I hope you guys have had a great day. Out there doing the things that make you good, getting high and getting drunk, and then just wasting your lives away in front of the TV or the computer in this case. It's good for me, it's good for you. Let's just do that. Let's just do that and just scroll on our phones until we can't take it anymore. And then we get so addicted that we just starve ourselves to death, which isn't going to happen anytime soon because everyone's so damn fat. Thanks for coming, everybody. I hope you're well. I hope that you are doing the cult proud, converting those non-believers in our darkest hour. Welcome. Tonight we're doing leg beards. We did incels a little bit ago. I thought it was unfair to have such a one-sided debate, which wasn't really much of a debate. It was more of a exhibition. But now we're doing leg beards, femcells, whatever you like to call them. Women that just don't know how to settle, don't know how to call it quits. And that's the same issue with incels too, right? They want the cream of the crop, or at least not fatsos, because nobody wants that. So, yeah, I don't mean to be blunt, but there you go. That's me doing that. I hope you guys are good. I don't see any reason to explain what I'm going to be doing tonight because I'm not even completely sure. And what do you want me to do about that? This is a very off-the-cuff show, and I will guide it as I see fit. So if you have problems with that, by all means, stay and hit the like button. That's it. You are not allowed to leave. Sorry. This isn't one of those cults where you can just come and go. No, I will send my people after you as you get into your private jet and I will gun you down. Jim Jones. Classic. One of the best to do it. Anyways, guys, thanks so much for coming. I think we should just get started. It's December 17th, yet somehow in my room right here, it's 88 degrees. It is hot. I'm under stage lights. There's a lot of computer equipment going around. It's 60 outside. It's like 69. Nice. But it's not that inside my room because I still don't have my air conditioner fixed. Don't ask me why. I just don't. Alright? So if I start to sweat and if I start to take off my clothes and stuff like that, then that's what's going to happen. I know. I keep trying to say this is not a sex cult in any fashion, and me stripping down to as little as I can get is not going to help my point. But I don't care. This is about survival now. Right? This is about survival. Anyways, guys, get comfy. Get cozy. If you're driving, keep driving. If you're working, I don't give a shit what you do. Grab a bottle of wine. Stay nice and cool. Go to the bathroom now. I'm not going to turn this stream around. You know the rules. If there's anybody new here, can you fill them in on the rules? Right? I feel like the rules, I have to reiterate them every time. But they're pretty straightforward, right? Just don't be a dickhead, and everything should work out. Anyways, guys, I'm the Incredible Sulk. This is the Sulk stream, and this is called I Infiltrated the Femcells, something like that. It doesn't matter. Thanks for coming.
It seems like these days, everyone has heard of incels.
What is an incel?
Yep.
Stands for involuntary celibate.
An entire generation of young, lonely, and often frustrated young men.
And we're live.
With the media going so far as to label incels as the #1 threat in America.
The United States Secret Service
Background noise
is
and King of all
warning
pixels
everyone
are here.
about a rise in incel threats right here in the United
That black dude's getting mad puss though.
States.
Oh, but he's white, so he's not a threat. I mean, or he's black, so he's not a threat. Because only the white ones are a threat. And the black ones are normally a threat, so it's not like news if they become a threat.
But despite all this, very little attention has been given to the topic of femcells, female incels, women who, much like their counterparts, can't seem to find a man or a relationship.
I've recently come to the realization that
Excuse me?
Chad doesn't want me.
Anybody? Okay, so she specifically wants Chad. Who is Chad? Who is Chad? Cause you look acceptable. I'm sure anybody in this chat would be happy to put a hijab on you and chain you in the kitchen, which is really what should be done.
And this absolutely breaks
Maybe not the hijab part. That's a joke. But the chain, for sure, that's not a joke.
my heart and soul. I am devastated.
The assumption that women are naturally better caregivers is part of patriarchy.
So I think I might be a femcel.
Yeah, probably. Look at this. You see this? This is sweat. That's sweat. I'm sweating. December in Florida. Oh, she's probably got a bunch of Funko Pops for sure.
My name is Mr. Obvious, and this is the story of how I infiltrated the deep, dark, and disturbing world of the femcel movement. It all started on a cool November evening. I was standing by the local woods, smoking paper. Wait a minute. I don't smoke. I had been assigned by the 69th precinct to discover the truth about femcells. What were they? Were they a threat? What did their sweat taste like? It's
probably just normal. Probably even grosser than normal. I don't know. Girl sweat is, it smells like BO. It's just normal BO. And, femcell sweat. You know, sometimes bitches don't bathe, right? Not all of them, or not even most of them. But there's a specific subgroup that don't bathe and see no reason to. And, yeah, they stinky. They stinky bitches.
To know the truth.
Yeah, this is Mr. Obvious. Do you know of him? I don't.
But not everyone at the precinct
I'll subscribe to him. This is the first of his videos that I've actually seen, so.
Femcells were a threat. Hey, yo, Captain Obvious. I don't think those femcells are a threat. You feel me? I knew if I wanted answers, I would have to get to the bottom of this. As I returned to the precinct, I sat on my desk and logged into my computer, and that's where the trouble began.
King of all pixels says femcell sweat probably smells like plants and cat hair, which doesn't sound that bad. I mean, really? That doesn't sound that bad. Plants don't even have a smell, and some of the smells that plants have are actually quite pleasant. And like, I have a cat. There she is. She's a bitch, but she doesn't stink most of the time.
Couldn't remember the password to my computer. Now we need to talk about the definition of the word incel and where the word actually comes from, especially as we dive into
Arden Shire says femcells don't really exist. It's just women throwing a fit because they didn't get what they wanted. Shocking. Absolutely 100% completely shocking. I didn't know that spoiled women threw fits when they didn't get exactly what they wanted. Even when they don't want to throw a fit, like, you know, they get spoiled all the time and they understand this and they don't want to be a little spoiled brat, and so they don't want to throw a fit. They're still going to subconsciously throw a fit. They're going to be disappointed, and then you're going to feel bad. So, yeah. That's exactly what's happening here. even the big fatso women can still get laid pretty easily. And a lot of people say that's the same for the guys, though, right? That is not true. That is not true at all, right? Because the guys don't have vaginas. And vagina is the key to the future. If you want your genes to propagate into the future, the vagina is the key. And dick is cheap, right? Dick is cheap and it's plentiful, and there's no shortage of dick. The entire country of India, if that's the direction you want to go, would be very happy, regardless of how you look, right? So dick is in no short supply. But vagina, that's something else. That's a little bit more scarce. It's a little bit more scarce. So that's naturally an advantage. So being a femcel is not, real. It's not real. But these women want chads. They want, the 666s. So, they're not gonna settle for anything below that. But those guys are usually pretty well spoken for. Usually married or have girlfriends or something like that. That would be quite angry. If they were to, So it's tough. You got to lower your standards or go somewhere else,
Deep, dark, and disturbing world of femcells.
It's time to stop!
If you believe the media narrative, incel simply means man who hates woman. But this isn't true at all. The word incel is short for involuntary celibate. A celibate is
I am not involuntary celibate, but I do kind of hate women.
someone who takes a vow of celibacy. Essentially,
Don't
a celibate
shoot
chooses
me.
not to have relationships.
I'm a married man. I have a wife and kids whom I love very much, but women are a problem.
or intimacy by choice.
Just on a national scale, on a national level, and I'm not holding any bitterness towards women. It's not their fault. It's our fault, right? It's our fault. Less so mine, because I married one, right? Which is what you should be doing. That's how you encapsulate the evil, right? That's how women are naturally evil, and they want to express this evil as much as they possibly can. But as a man, it is your responsibility to do your part and try to jump on their grenade that is a woman, right? For the betterment of society. If you have sons, you will understand that this is what you need to do, right? Because women will inherently destroy society if they get even a scrap of power. This has been known since the time of the Greeks, all right?
Relationships with women and
The
sex with
ancient
men.
Greeks.
On the other hand,
Not the gay
involuntary
ones.
celibates
Not the
want
gay ones.
relationships but can't seem to find one, and are therefore maidenless.
You are fated, it seems, to die in obscurity, maidenless.
Now, if you Google
Sick burn, though. Sick burn.
the term incel, they don't give you a real definition. Instead, they seem more interested in pushing a narrative that incels are some sort of hate group and conspiracy that's against women. But the
How can they be a conspiracy when incels don't have any power? That is why they're incels, right? How can they be a conspiracy? Because a conspiracy is when powerful people, men typically, get together and plot against other men typically, or the population at large. Incels have no power. That's why they can't get laid in the first place, right? So if an incel had the power to conspire against literally anybody, they would already have the power to become not incels, right? They would have the power to get laid. So, not a conspiracy. Not a conspiracy in the least bit.
definition gets it wrong. It also pushes the idea that only men can be incels, which isn't true. It's a gender-neutral term. In fact, the term incel was actually invented by a woman. But this, my friends, is where the rabbit hole gets deeper. A woman named Alana started a website.
Is that that's an anagram for anal, isn't it? A-N-A-L. There's an extra A. But I think we're going to count that one, right? Right? So this is clearly a dude posing as a woman, and he has some sort of pornography fetish. And he's like, I'm going to name myself Anal, but I'm going to jumble up the words so people don't get it. Alana Retentive. I don't know.
Site called Alana's
I don't know what the last name would be.
Voluntary Celibacy Project in the 1990s. The website focused on how its followers felt shyness and social awkwardness and had difficulties in relationships. You see, the term incel was basically unheard of, not even 8 years ago. Incels were a small niche community on the R9K
Because incels didn't really exist. I mean, they existed for sure. But, like, now people aren't getting laid. What is it? Like, half of the male population under the age of 30 is a virgin? That is wild. That is insane. Half? And it's not the same for women, right? So, women, maybe 10%, I'm just completely guessing, are virgins under the age of 30. Because women will sleep with the top guy, and they have there's a lot of sperm. You can just make as much sperm as you want, right? Sometimes I just make sperm for fun. But yeah, guys can't just no. It's different. And if people say that, oh, well, the female virginity rate and the male virginity rate are basically the same, that's a lie. That's a fucking lie. That's a complete lie. That's a complete lie. Just because women can get laid at any point during the day, the night, the month, whatever, it's pretty easy to find somebody willing to, and maybe you'll say, well, what if these women aren't insanely ugly? Well, they can go and get like a black boyfriend or something like that. You see those big fat white ladies with the black boyfriend? See, it just depends on what your standards are and how far you're willing to let them slip.
Board on 4chan. Eventually they migrated over to Reddit and created the infamous r/incel subreddit. This didn't last long, however, as Reddit quickly nuked the subreddit from the platform. The official reason given was that the subreddit had violated the site's content policies.
You are accused of treason and anti-Soviet behavior. The court finds you guilty and sentences you to be shot.
Specifically citing a content policy against violence. To this day, there are many people who believe that the banning was political. Reddit has been known to be very woke and even downright hostile towards men, especially men expressing their feelings, their anger, their disappointment, and their suffering. Basically, they were shut down for criticizing women.
I got kicked off of Reddit a long time ago. It wasn't for using criticizing women. But I did do a lot of that. But I used the T word, the terrible TRANIES word. I'm saying it like that because, again, I'm on YouTube. I don't want to get kicked off of YouTube. I don't have any watchers on YouTube, but you know, I gotta make money somehow. Somehow.
And then everything changed when the mainstream media attacked. In 2018,
Background noise says, if they are ugly, then they don't get to spit in my mouth. That's about it. But everything else flies, right? Everything else is cool. So what? They don't get to spit in your mouth. And if they're big and fat, you don't want them spitting in your mouth anyway. Then you get little cake bits that they're spitting into your mouth, which might taste good, but it would be gross altogether. That's gross, right? So you don't want a big fat chick spitting in your mouth. A woman's mouth is dirty anyway. You don't want that.
On the same day, every major news outlet and mainstream media company released story after story about incels and the incel threat. Suddenly, overnight, it blew up into a national phenomenon.
Well, there is a growing threat to women from men who are often frustrated sexually.
Fox 13's Ernie Freeman reports on a dangerous group of men called incels.
Excuse me, but I've got something to tell you first. Thank you for ruining my life.
Ashley!
What did you do?
Everybody's always blaming me for everything.
All of a sudden, everyone was talking about incels. In August of 2018, the media did a massive campaign.
Okay, so this is where the word pops up. And I guess 2018 was the year. It's funny because the dating apps came out around 2008, and that really did a number on women specifically, right? It became too easy for women to pick what they wanted. They always picked the best looking guy. It became all about looks, and it really affected the dating market quite a bit.
Blowing up incels into the public consciousness. But nowadays, incel is just a term used to insult men. It's become an anti-male insult. Perhaps because of this, people...
How often do you get called an incel on Twitter? Like every fucking day? Every time you have any sort of argument with any female or even a lot of the weaker males, you automatically get labeled as an incel and how you'll never get laid and it's over for you, bro. And they have no basis. That's what they do first. They don't know you or have any idea, but taking that shot at a man is a pretty good chance you're going to be right. These days, that's a pretty good chance. You have about a 50% chance of being correct these days, and that's shocking. That's a shame, right? So all these guys that... Let's blame testosterone. The testosterone level has dropped precipitously in the last 10 years, and it's been dropping for decades, right? But something they've been spraying onto us or injecting into us or putting in our food has accelerated that. And so a lot of people don't go out and try to get laid. They just sit in their computer and play video games and buy Funko Pops and, you know, jerk off to weird anime stuff. There's a lot of situations going on today, and it's not great.
Have completely ignored the disturbing truth. Reddit may have banned r/incel, but they never banned the femcels. And this is where the story gets dark. By this point, the investigation had been underway. But could it really be that simple? Could it really be that femcels were simply incels who were female? I had never seen a woman before, though I had heard about them from Frankie. Apparently, they liked flowers and serial killers. They liked the flowers like they liked the serial killers, covered in red.
You see that? That's gamer girl juice. Now, I'm not talking about your everyday average gal, like Belle Delphine. I'm talking about gamer girls. Needless to say, this stuff is highly toxic. Never consume it. Had to be sure.
If I was gonna uncover the truth about femcels,
interesting. JD says, I was watching on YouTube. It's a barren chat over there. Well, yeah, what do you expect?
I was going to have to go undercover.
Well, yeah, dude, what do you expect? Were you the one guy watching on YouTube? I don't even know if it's up. See, the thing about YouTube is, like, they're going to ban me probably for this one. I'm surprised they didn't ban me for the last one. Maybe they're not banning people as much as they used to ban people, because, like, the first couple videos I did got banned immediately.
I gave it my best shot. Unfortunately, things weren't going so well on X.
Hey, Salt Dumpster.
To hell with it. I was gonna have to risk it all.
So this guy goes on 2X chromosomes and, God, what is the other one? Female dating strategy. Have you guys ever been on female dating strategy? I could do an entire episode on female dating strategy, because that is a dumpster fire. That place is, I mean, you can smell the chicks, and they're nasty through that. It's not about dating. It's just a man hate and how they want to kill all men, and it's just a nightmare of a subreddit.
Oh, well, that was easy. But only because I'm a good detective. Well, it just so happens that Reddit just had a major outage while I was beginning to work on this part of the video. That was me. I did it. I murdered Reddit, and I'm not sorry.
Good.
I would do it again.
Any lowlife, any maggot piece of shit that I put down, I did it because I liked it. Hell, I loved it. I'm saying, I'm just itching. I'm itching to do it again. And you.
The Reddit menace is too much. I had to put it under arrest. Reddit said something about not being able to breathe, and I just didn't listen. But for you, it's been seconds. For me,
Obedience, yeah, says with 2 X's, there is no Y. Brilliant play of words. Brilliant.
been hours.
It's been
3,000 years.
That being said, let's continue with the video. R/2X chromosomes. If I had to define what is the femcell movement, I would probably link you a page to this subreddit. This is the most vile, toxic, and anti-male femcell community that I've ever seen. It's got over...
Is the 4B movement still rolling? Is that still rolling? Is that still thing, you know, how chicks weren't having sex with dudes because Trump won? Which is really funny because the women who are participating in that were having sex with dudes that were voting Kamala anyway, right? Because the ones on the other side probably wouldn't touch them for good reasons, because they were probably gross and gross and gross and gross and also a little gross. So they stopped having sex with the weaker. I don't understand. It's not, you're not hurting the people you think you're hurting. You're hurting yourselves, but I guess that's what they do, which is fine. I guess. Self-harm. It turns me on. I'm not going to lie.
14 million members on Reddit, one of the largest Reddits on the entire website. So right off the bat, you can see here that the top post is a 4B post. For those that don't know, the 4B movement is a radical feminist movement that emerged from South Korea. It's an openly anti-male movement. It's also been described as a pretty phobic group to...
transphobic and homophobic. Well, it's 2X chromosomes. If you don't have 2X chromosomes, it's not your group, right? I think that's fair. How is that not fair? And I doubt they're homophobic because I've said this before, all women are bisexual. It's just, it's biology, right? It has nothing to do with choice or anything like that. Women think they have choice in things. They really don't. They want to believe that, right? They want to think they have some sort of power in society. They just simply do not. They're too irrational. They can't control their own impulses and stuff like that. That's why it's our duty to do that for them, right? But we've given them all kinds of things like the 19th Amendment? That was a mistake, right? We let them walk around outside unchaperoned and stuff. Other things. We let them in the workplace where they do their TikTok dances and they clap and nothing gets done. Nothing gets done. There's been a lot of mistakes that have happened in the previous century. The 1900s were hard on society.
All sorts of people.
But now the 21st century is just much worse, much worse. And we're coming to a head where we really need to turn this boat around. And women even want this, even though they're not saying they want this, right? This is why they're trying to import a bunch of Islamic men, because over there, they actually have some sort of control over their women. They put them in hefty bags and stuff like that and throw rocks at them. And then our American women are all fat and stuff. And they're all like, we want some of that. Let's do that. If that's what they want, hefty bags and throw rocks at them. We can do that. We have the technology to do that.
We the baddies.
That being said, the 4 core tenets of the 4B movement are no sex with men, no giving birth to men's children, no dating men, and no marriage with men. These are known as the 4 no's. 4B in a nutshell. Now, the main reason I bring this up is to highlight the massive hypocrisy in which the media and society treat men going their own way, for example, men deciding not to date women anymore, not to get married, and to simply focus on self-improvement and their own lives, and women who decide to join the 4B movement, for example. Even though at face value, they're basically the same.
I broke up with my boyfriend on election night. You know this chick is probably getting slammed by multiple dudes. And they're all like 98 pounds too, right? And I'm sure she's pushing 230, 240 minimum, right? At 5'3". So, whatever. You're a gross slump buster anyway. No one gives a shit.
Same thing.
In society now, there's been a lot of movies and culture and cultural influences that say that you don't. Murphy Brown, Jennifer Aniston. I mean, we could go back the last decade. There's a big push. Women don't need a man. That's been the message. And so guess what?
Women don't need a man. So, okay. So they might not need a man to like fix their car. They'll just take it to a mechanic. Who is a man? Or they don't need a man to fix their toilet because they could just call a plumber. Who is a man? They don't need a man to fix their electric. I could go on all day, right? And they don't need a man to make their money, but they go and ask the government for equal hiring practices, forcing companies to hire less effective workers to give them money. The government being a man. So, how exactly do you not need men? Women would be wandering around in the woods until they eventually died of thirst. If men all disappeared, let's say men were raptured tonight, and we all just left a pile of clothes behind, and the world was just women after that. After intense fighting for hours and hours and hours, they would weaken to the point where they wouldn't have any food, no one's feeding them. They wouldn't know who to blame. They would blame men still, but men don't exist anymore, right? So they would just kind of languish until they passed away. Blaming men to the very bitter end. They wouldn't band together and try to make a utopian society. They couldn't possibly do that, or else they would have done it by now, right? They would have done that by now.
Eventually, men start to believe it, and they say, well, you know what? I don't really need you either.
When men go their own way, they're called toxic, they're called, they don't like women, they're trying to hurt women, which never really made sense to me because the whole point is that, like, you just leave women alone.
Let's be clear about this. Men are not trying to hurt women. Men are trying to keep women from hurting themselves. That's what men are doing. And sure, there's bad men out there that will take advantage and do terrible things to women. No doubt. That is the world, right? But on the whole, in society, men are trying to keep women from destroying themselves. That is the main goal. That is why we put so many restrictions on women in general. That's what you call the patriarchy. It is for your own good. It is for your own good. And the way society is these days is just proof positive that that system was put in place for a very good reason. And you just shunned it, right? You're all like, I know what's best for me. I know how to do things. Men don't need to tell me what to do. And then you fall into a pit of despair after fucking 50 dudes and getting addicted to wine and cat fur. It's not men's fault that you decided not to listen. Or is it? I don't know.
And do your own thing, literally in the name.
What's better than this? Guys being dudes.
But the media will say that this is bad, men are bad, and these groups are dangerous, somehow. But when women do it, when women have their own movement to go their own way and do their own thing, it's called empowering, wonderful, and yeah, get back at those toxic.
Shady Grab says, every Christmas advert I see is a white-black relationship. Yeah, I think we all know who's behind that, and who is also behind all this as well.
Men. It's massively hypocritical, and it's not even a fair comparison.
It's getting tiresome, isn't it? It's getting quite tiresome. And it's just like, we were born into this society. We didn't ask for all this interracial, and all this women empowerment shit. We just kind of got born into this situation, and now we're what are we going to do? We have to clean it up. There's no other choice that has been given to us, right? Unless we could just die. We could just rope, for God's sakes. But a lot of men do just check out and hit the bottle and then watch porn and play video games until they're just husks of what glorious beings they should have been, which is a shame. It's a shame. You should take up your own power. Take your power back, right? You were born to run this world. But now you're just sitting on the computer, masturbating, and getting drunk every night. And there's nothing fulfilling about that.
They're really not the same at all. You look at the 4B movement, for example, whose entire premise is a world without men. And somehow this is called brave and inspiring and stick it to the page.
Sussman. Anna Louise Sussman.
Patriarchy.
Women.
Now, believe it or not, I'm not really a fan of either of these movements. Giving up on marriage and dating and family, I think is absolutely insane. Because let's say that the 4B movement succeeds. What happens? Well, if men stop dating women and women stop dating men.
Salt Dubster says, how did you know I was baiting? Because I'm on the screen.
Nobody gets married. Nobody has
That's how I
children.
know.
The population collapses. The system collapses because it's based upon...
And there's this thing about women these days that they want to have... I don't want to reiterate old arguments, but they want to have it all, right? And they want to live this eat, pray, love lifestyle where they go around taking tons of dick and stuff like that. But every time they do that, every time they fuck another dude, a little piece of them dies. And you can see it in their eyes, man. You can see it in their eyes. Like a girl that's 30-something odd years old and she doesn't have any sort of relationships, but she's been around the block. You can see a vagueness about them, right? Or I don't know how to describe it. A lonesomeness, just a tiredness that they don't know what they're doing. They don't know why they're doing it. And they saw it on the movie and they thought it would be fulfilling. But see, the thing, women are very gullible creatures. They're extremely gullible creatures, and they can be tricked into doing pretty much anything on a mass scale. There is some smarter ones out there that are a little bit more resistant to it, resilient. But on the whole, especially the much younger ones, they will absorb media like a sponge and then act that out because that's what they assume life is about, right? Life is about taking care of their needs and what they want to do. And if you go out and fuck a bunch of men and go traveling up until you're 35, 40 years old, you're going to have a fulfilling life. And you chase those big corporate job dreams and stuff like that. And you make six figures and you go, girl, you be independent. And at the end of all that, all they want to do is put a gun in their mouth. But they won't. But they want you to think they will, right? Because they want the attention. So they can't even get that done.
On endless growth, and then all of society crumbles, everyone gets old, and humanity goes...
Obedience, yeah, says 4B is like 4-H, but for a different kind of farm animal. Yes, well put. Yes, cows and pigs and such. Yeah. These pigs get fucked a lot more. A lot more. It's amazing how like a big old ham planet, like a heifer of a woman, could very easily go on Tinder and then just take one of those shots where it's just her face, right? Right? And then she like lures a dude into her apartment and then the dude gets there and he's all like, well, I'm here. And she's huge, right? She's 300 pounds minimum. But she has the Tinder. This is her Tinder, right? It's the Heather Hair, right? The one that got killed by that. She was too fat to fit into the picture. So they just put her face like this. Because that's all you need. All you need is the features. And the rest of her does not matter, right? This is the important part. It is not.
Extinct. Because...
And that part That part that she's putting on there is fake anyway. It's got like 3 pounds of makeup on it. So you can't even distinguish what kind of thing they are, right? That could have just been a pumpkin that they put makeup on. But no, it is a big fat woman.
Surprise, surprise. You need to have kids to have a society in a country. So I do not agree with these movements, but let's move on. So I want to go over to one of these posts. Taking a look here that's more recent, it says, help. I don't want to hate men, but I find myself...
Couch Surfing says, are we talking dumb girls? Not specifically. We're talking fat girls who want more than they deserve. So yeah, in a way, they are dumb.
Starting to. And this is from 6 months ago. Taking a look at the post here by a user named Neem Shalta. Here it says, hi all. 27 years old female. I have had a difficult and tumultuous relationship with men throughout all my life.
Obientia says, I have a 20-something who comes into the pharmacy who went 4B, maybe 5 foot, 300 plus pounds, changed her name as part of the 4B movement to a gender-neutral one, let's say Drew or something like that, invalidated all her insurance and psych meds because names don't match. That is fucking hilarious. That is really, how stupid can you be? I'm sure she definitely needs those psych meds too. Right? I'm sure she really, really needs them because she's made decisions in her life that she probably can't handle. You know, she can't handle the regret that she's brought onto herself, but also the shame and disgrace that she's brought onto her ancestors, her family, you know. 300 pounds at 5 foot is enormous. And at 20s, that's terrible, man. That's awful. Because even if you lose all that weight, then you're just like a deflated Macy's Day balloon. And, you know, no one wants that either. You got a bunch of baggy flesh and stuff. And even if they remove it, it looks weird. And you have gigantic, grotesque scars all over your body that don't go away. Right? And it's still loose after that. So that's sad. That is sad. That is a mental health issue. And I don't even know if I can completely blame her for that. But you gotta blame somebody. So it's probably her fault. All these things were decisions on her part, right? It was her decision to eat the food in copious amounts and to not exercise and to be pissed off at Donald Trump and stuff. These were all her decisions. The 4B movement is really an excuse for her not to have sex with people because she's not happy with the people she's having sex with in the first place. It kind of eats away at her soul a little bit. And so she needs antidepressants to make her feel a little bit better. But it's really fake. That's fake. Antidepressants don't make you feel better. They make you feel nothing. Nada. Nothing. Right? Maybe this will be good for her. Getting off her psych meds. Or maybe it'll be really, really, really bad.
I just feel like throughout all my life, men have disappointed me, let me down, hurt me, and abused me over and over again. Even the good ones. I've noticed they've all had some glaring issue that I thought was unacceptable, contemptible, selfish, uncompassionate, unempathetic, weak.
This is the lie that
Interesting. So they can't, men just do not match up to her standards that she puts out. She wants impossible men. She wants like the burger that's not made out of meat. That's exactly, but she wants it to taste just like a burger, but she doesn't want it made out of meat. You know what I'm saying? You know the analogy I'm getting at? She wants the impossible. She wants literally the impossible. He has to be all these things, 6 foot, 6 figures, 6 pack. He has to be strong and tough, but yes, also compassionate and weak. And these things contradict, right? And women don't actually go for that. Women always go for guys that are more confident, but that comes off as being an asshole, right? Because you're confident enough to be an asshole. And you know why you're confident? Because you have the right to be confident. You can't conjure up fake confidence. It's impossible, right? People will sniff that out in a hot second. Fake confidence does not, there's no such thing. You have to be confident about something, and then people know why you're confident. That's where confidence comes from. So you can be a complete asshole if you want to be, because you are confident that regardless of your personality, you are still going to get laid. That's it, man. Women don't give a shit about your personality. It's a nice icing on the cake, but after everything's said and done, it is like the last thing that they really care about. They care about physical appearance, the ability to make money. Intelligence is important, honestly. Intelligence is important. Being able to make a woman laugh is key, but not because she wants to laugh, but that cycles back to the money thing. If you're able to make a woman laugh, that means you're resourceful and you're quick-witted, which means you're going to be able to make more money. So it's really just the two things. It's physical fitness and money. So that's the things. Those are the things. And you can even get rid of the physical fitness, and it's just money. A lot of bitches are like that with just the money thing. A lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them.
Gets told to men too, right? They want someone who's going to be a human and show all that weakness. And then guys do that. And the woman's like, maybe we should see other people. Why?
Women don't even like harmless men. They hate them. They like to claw them apart. You know, what women want are dangerous men who are civilized.
And this advice that they're getting from the feminist movement, from the women's magazines, from the network TV, whatever it may be, it's not good.
Where are you? You're so weak.
I'm sorry. Obedience says, and I have weapons hidden where based employees know where they are. I even have throwing knives because my Filipino manager said he can use them and sent me a vid of him doing nice with them. Create distance so we can run. Are you just strapped at your pharmacy? That's a pretty good place to be strapped though, right? Because somebody comes in looking for drugs. They're going to do anything for drugs. You might as well have some throwing knives behind the counter. Just in case. Maybe you don't live in a state where you're allowed to have like a shotgun behind the counter, but that's definitely the way I would go. A shotgun over throwing knives easily.
Watched him fall short and act in immature, childish ways over and over and over again. Okay, so I just want to break that down. This person is saying that they basically hate men. It's really not that complicated. Now, I just want to point out the blatant narcissism and moral superiority basically bleeding out of this post. This person is basically going on to say that, oh, men,
women cannot help but bleed.
Are always disappointing me and letting me down over and over.
Sometimes it's not them that's the problem. It's us.
That's called living life. There's plenty of women in my life who have let me down, hurt me, and abused me, and bad things have happened. No! But do I blame all women for the actions of one, or even a few, or even a lot? Not really. Every person on this planet has flaws, men and women included. This person is talking as if they are perfect and they are the arbiters of good and bad and maturity.
We're better than you, and we know it.
OBTS says if someone's robbing, give them whatever they want. If they're killing, give no quarter. Well, if they're robbing you, yeah, give them whatever they want, but also take a little stash for yourself, right? Just be like, oh, they stole that Vicodin. They stole all those amphetamines. Yeah, they stole that. And then you walk out and you have the pill shake, right? You got to wear Jenko jeans or something like that. Something real deep pockets. And then you're set. You're set. You have all the drugs you need and you're good to go. Right?
And I get the feeling that this person has some deep-seated narcissism and entitlement issues. So we're here with ChatGPT.
Background noise says, well, my mom says I'm perfect. Your mom sounds hot.
And I'm going to run her statement through it, and we'll see what we get. Please analyze the following statement for mental illness. Paste. Holy shit, ChatGPT really really has a lot to say, and I gotta be honest, I agree with a lot of this.
Shit just went from 0 to 100 real fucking quick.
I want to talk about this. This is actually, there's a lot to break down here. So, going to Google, we're looking at some of the signs of narcissism, and I just want to read them here. Grandiose sense of self.
I mean, I think I'm pretty awesome. Narcissists have an inflated sense of self-importance and often inclined to brag about themselves. Well, I am the best cult leader that has ever lived. And you guys know that too. So I don't think that's overly grandiose. I mean, is that inappropriate?
Narcissists have an inflated sense of self-importance and are often inclined to brag about themselves.
I already said that, bro.
Now, while it may not be obvious at first, this person is basically claiming that men don't...
And women are typically pretty narcissistic. I don't know if it's a mental disorder with them. I think it's just an evolved survival strategy where they think specifically about themselves and what is best for them in that moment. I don't know if I don't think it's a mental disorder. I think that's just how women are, right? And I don't think they should be blamed for that. This is how they got their genes into the future, and that's just how it is, you know?
Meet her high moral standards, therefore she is superior to those men. Grandiose sense of self, check. Lack of empathy. Narcissists have difficulty understanding.
JD Grab says, my mother has a lovable asshole. My mother says I'm a lovable arsehole. Those are two different statements.
And sharing the feelings of others. They may be insensitive to your needs and emotions. She says, even the good men have disappointed me and had glaring, unacceptable behaviors.
Damn. Who can fix the princess here? Right? Who can fix the princess? Can anybody fix the princess here? Probably not. Especially because she sounds super duper fat. And that's a self-control issue, right? So if she has self-control issues over food, you don't think she's going to have self-control issues and impulsivity issues over like money and sex and maybe gossip or a lot of other issues in life. She just might not be a catch. She might suck, right? And if she wasn't so fat, then a lot of men would overlook it, right? But she is. And not only that, she's not willing to settle in the least bit. She wants the top tier of man because that's just naturally what women want, right? Having a baby is extremely physically intensive for women. So every time a woman has sex, she is literally putting her life on the line because you can die during childbirth. So it better be the best genetics you can possibly get. And when women don't get these best genetics they can possibly get, that they feel entitled to, then they get grouchy, right? And get mad at society in general, not themselves in any way. It's not like they can make themselves better in any way.
I cannot in good conscience allow you to say that birth is dangerous. Stop it right there.
Okay, you want to talk about the microphone? I'm sweating my fucking balls.
It is hot in here.
I know. You know, I fucking know it's hot, Jess.
It's hot.
I fucking know it's hot.
Well, you can't say that childbirth is dangerous, honey. It's not. We just free birthed our child. Come on.
I was willing to risk it. What? I was willing to risk it.
Can't say that childbirth is inherently. It's not. You know what's dangerous? The doctors and the midwives and all them. That's who makes it dangerous. Not birth. Otherwise us as a human race wouldn't exist.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks, sweetie.
Oh my gosh, don't say that kind of stuff.
Okay.
I mean, it's like my whole thing, John. What?
Okay. Love you. Sorry. She got out of her cage somehow.
Not one thought is spared for the men, their problems, or their issues, or how she may have let men down. Lack of empathy. Check.
Check. Lack of empathy. And I don't care about any one of you either.
Sense of entitlement. This is a big one.
I'm just kidding. I love you all.
Narcissists have an unreasonable expectation of favorable treatment and automatic compliance with their wishes.
Okay, I don't think I have that. I feel entitled. I feel like I should be entitled, right? But I don't expect people to be automatically compliant with my wishes. I kind of wish that was the case, but I know for a fact that is not the case. That is just being a man. You know that people aren't going to be automatically compliant with anything you want. You kind of have to force people to give you what you want. And that's fine, right? That's fine. It doesn't even always have to be by force, but it could be by extreme negotiation, which is a type of force, right? This is why men have war. If men didn't, men wouldn't need to have war if everyone would just did exactly what they said, right? So maybe I don't have that sense of entitlement. Maybe I should, though. Maybe I should.
I actually think that sense of entitlement is one of the main signs of narcissism.
You can't expect us to be wifey material for someone that doesn't deserve it.
Automatically wrong.
Okay, so you expect me to give
automatically wrong. Automatically wrong.
I expect you to appreciate the men that built the world around you. The entitlement you guys have. In college today, the average man sitting in college with a woman knows that.
All right, and Sherry says birthing is dangerous for bitches with comorbidities. Yeah, I mean, and like 95%, 99% of the time, there's really no problem with just a complete free birth. And women are designed to do it, right? It's not that big of a deal. Once you see the process, like our firstborn was born in a hospital, right? We tried to do it at home, but like it was, for some reason, it didn't go as planned. But once you see the process, then you're like, oh, okay, it's not that big of a deal. You just have to ignore them until it comes out. And that's exactly what happened this second time, right? Just kept telling me, I'm not okay. I'm going to die. I'm so scared. And I'm like, you're fine. And I just scrolled on my phone. And you know what? She was fine this time. So maybe I'm better than the doctors. There was no midwife this time. We had a midwife last time. Maybe that was the fucking problem. I did it myself this time. She had her part to play. Don't get me wrong. But it was all me. It was all me.
That woman wants a man making six figures. They can't even date because today young women don't want men who are making average money.
Six figures is not even that much money. I mean, it is a lot of money. Don't get me wrong. But like when women say they want six figures and they actually get with a guy that makes six figures, they're like, oh, I thought I was going to have a much better life than this. Because six figures these days, it's not that much. It's like 50 grand in the year 2000, which is okay, but it's not what they expect.
And you see it all over R/2 chromosomes. This issue is just a good example. She's basically claiming that she's entitled to a perfect man with zero flaws, which has no issues, which meets her perfect, ideal.
It's true. Couch Surfing says, I didn't say I was going to die. No, honey, this is a dramatic thing, right? She didn't say that, but she said, dude, I'm not okay. And I was like, you're fine. You're okay. And it was fine.
Man, aka what she deserves.
How much should your future husband make?
Arden Shire says, LOL, they mean mid six figures. Most of us know that after 100K, you don't notice a difference. Mid six figures? What, like 150? Or like 500? 500 is a big deal, man. Like, but 100K, you're going to have an okay, right? 100K, something like that. That's okay. That's fine, right? That's good money. That's really good money. But it's not 500K. If you're doing mid six figures, that is ridiculous. That is a ridiculous sum of money for any person to make. If you haven't heard their name before, they're probably not making that.
500,000. I agree.
There you go.
500K. 1 million.
And look, $1 million a year. Look at this face. She thinks this deserves $1 million. 7 figs. She thinks this is a 7-figure face. Nope. No, ma'am. No. You are 45K plus a decent dental plan at best. At best. All right. So get ready to do some settling, whore.
What do you bring to the table?
I'm sexy.
Did she have a burp she was fighting back?
Quote unquote. Because I bet you she can't even cook or clean. And with zero thought of what she should bring.
Art and Shia says they want 500K but don't know that 0.001% of guys have that. Yeah, 500K that's a ridiculous sum of money. That's what they think they want. But they say he has to make 6 figures. And when a guy actually makes 6 figures, they're like, oh, it's only $100,000? I thought it'd be like a lot better than that. Nah. No, it's 6 figures though. But it's not $500,000 a year. There's no fucking way. And some of these bitches are so middle of the road, right? And it's entitlement, right? They're all narcissistic. And again, not through some like mental disorder that they have, although a lot of them have that, which is fair. This is from genetic evolution, right? They want the best that they can, and they want somebody who's going to raise their offspring comfortably, but they know so little about economics and the world, and even their mothers and their grandmothers and stuff like that haven't taught them shit, right? They don't know how to cook. They don't know how to sew. They don't know how to do basic house chores 99% of the time. Even if they are very pretty, they're not worth that. There's lots of very pretty women out there. There are. And so a man that makes 500K a year is worth infinitely more than a woman who happens to be pretty, right? A lot of the women that are pretty too, it's all makeup. It's all makeup. So it's not true. And if you want to play it like that, like, okay, you can be pretty if you put on makeup. Well, I can make 500K if it's in Monopoly money. Do you want to make it like that? Because that would be fair. You're fake, I'll be fake. How's that?
To the table what she should bring to the relationship. I wouldn't be surprised if she didn't even know how to cook a basic meal. But what she's basically doing is demanding an absolute fantasy. In order to explain this in a way that men will understand, the male equivalent would be the perfect woman who basically lives for you and is selfless and would do anything for you. And everyone calls that woman best girl. But really, she's not best girl. She's just a fantasy. She's completely unrealistic.
Jess, make a pie. She never listens.
But she's like every lead boy's fan.
Background noise says middle of the road on a dead end street. And then Scott says gravel road at that. It's a dirt road filled with potholes. Let's be honest.
Fantasy to be completely and unconditionally
There's
loved
trash
by
on the side. There's trash in the gutters, right? It's just a bunch of trash.
Cute girl who's willing to put their own happiness aside in order to support the man they love.
I do not wish to be horny anymore. I just want to be happy.
But let's get back to the post and read a little bit more. This woman goes on to say, the issue for me started early, as I had an estranged relationship with my dad.
Is that their fault? No, I don't know. I don't have a daughter. Jess has a fine relationship with her dad. Her dad calls every day and he visits often. And he's a good guy, right? He's a good guy. So that's important, right? I don't know why, but it is. It's there's something deeply connected in the psychology of a woman where if she has a bad relationship with her father, she's going to take it out on her own vagina. How that makes sense, I'm not sure. I'm just not sure. But it seems to be the case time after time after time after time. Why do that? Why, if you hate your dad so much, why date a black guy? Why have sex with 1,000 men in a day, which is apparently the new record? That's what they're going for now, which is insane. That's you're getting bombed out, lady. Right? You're gonna be, right? She's gonna be turned inside out like a sweater in the dryer. It's gonna be fucking gross. Jesus, though. I don't get it. I honestly don't get it. And it kind of makes me be like, do I want a daughter? I wouldn't mind having a daughter. No, I would have a good relationship with my daughter. I'm sure I would. But my dad has a daughter, and he loves her. But maybe too much. There's a middle ground. There is a middle ground. If you overspoil them, then they're going to be entitled and think they can get away with absolutely everything. But if you are completely distant, that's also a problem. So being a dad to a daughter sounds hard. It honestly sounds hard. I'm lucky I have boys. I'm glad my penis makes boys. That's what I'm happy about.
And there it is.
Too Madri says, I'm glad John's here to humble women a little. Thank you, Great Pooba. I'm just doing the Lord's work, you know.
I made myself sad.
I'm just a simple
We'll just do the first one.
servant.
Are your biological parents married?
My parents are divorced. I haven't seen my dad since I was 13.
That sucks.
My parents are also divorced, and I haven't seen my dad in years.
There we go. Jeez, dude. If you're the dad, how do you live with yourself, though? You have a daughter out there in the world, and you're not like gonna be a part in any. I don't understand that, but I'm not a fucking asshole. Well, I am. Don't get me wrong. I totally am. I'm an overconfident, entitled asshole, and I try my best to be that way as much as possible. But I couldn't not be a part of my kid's life. That's insane.
My parents
That's
are
crazy.
separated.
So I think we're starting to see what the problem is. I'm going to continue. And as an adult, fell into...
Some men fight to the death just to be involved in their daughter's or their kid's life. They go to family court and they get reamed up the ass by some liberal feminist judge. And, their ex-wife gets absolutely everything and then full custody. And if you want to see your kids, you have to go through your wife. And there's a bunch of things. Some men go through that. And other men just don't give two shits. It's weird. It's weird. I don't know. Women don't fuck dirtbags. There's no hope. There's just no hope. I'm literally telling women to make good decisions. Am I retarded? I must be the retarded one now.
Strings of toxic romantic relationships with men.
We get our subconscious definition of love from our childhood home. This means that if little girls...
Arden Shara says if a kid hasn't seen their dad, it's women on a power trip a lot of the time. And he's right. He's absolutely right. Women are going to use whatever power they have, especially to get over on an ex, even if the man is completely not at fault in the divorce. And that is actually a lot more common than you would think, because women initiate 70-80% of divorces, and they always say, well, it's because he was abusive, he's a narcissist and stuff like that. But that's not true. None of that is ever true. And even if it is, you married him in the first place, so it's still kind of your fault. And now it doesn't even matter, because you share a kid, and you should at least have the respect and decency towards your kid to allow them to have a father, not just some random dude that shows up at your house who's probably a pedophile. Let's be honest, right? A lot of dudes, a lot of pedo dudes, will date single moms just to have access to the kids. And that's scary, man. That's fucked up. But it's absolutely the case.
Had assholes.
Some chicks on Tinder And I can't believe I even fucking have to, I am even saying this, but some women, single mothers on Tinder will actually showcase their underage daughters on the app as in makeup and shit. In fucking makeup. As part of like a package deal. Like you date the mom, you get the daughter for half price. Sometimes women just absolutely blow my mind with the depravity that they exhibit. It's amazing to me. But should it shock me? It should shock me. I wished it shocked me. But it just doesn't anymore. Was it always like this? I can't. I just don't believe that. I don't know.
For
I don't
daddies,
believe that.
there is a likelihood that they will actually associate more love in an environment with an asshole than with a nice guy. What's more than that, we all have this unresolved trauma, and we keep experiencing or even recreating mirrors of that original experience. So
Arden Shire says, speaking for myself, my ex held my kid from me. Damn. Now he's 19 and doesn't want anything to do with her. They do it to themselves. Yeah. And it comes back to the thing where we as men of this society are letting women hurt themselves with these stupid laws that give women power that they wield irresponsibly. And so, yeah, in the long run, they end up hurting themselves just so they can wield this power and get back at men and stuff like that. Women don't understand consequences or long-term consequences or even short-term consequences. They always think somebody is going to save them from it because that's always been the case. Throughout history, somebody has saved them from it, right? Even during wartime, if some group of Vikings came into their village and burned everything down and killed off all the men, the Vikings didn't kill the women. They saved them from poverty and took them back to their village where they knew how to kill people, right? So consequences were never a big deal for women from the beginning of time. They've always had this golden parachute between their legs that saved them at the last minute. So they don't have to have planning skills. They don't have to have basically any skills, right? As long as they're fertile, they are useful to a society, to literally any society.
just to try to create resolve.
And this is why letting them vote is such a terrible idea. Because if they vote a way that gets us into a war, they will still have zero consequences. We will be the ones going to war, fighting and dying, right? They don't have to do anything. If we lose the war, those men will come in and then marry our women, and then it's no sweat off their back. It's not their problem, right? Yeah, they voted us into that situation, but it's not like it hurts them at all. See?
This is a person who has never had a healthy relationship with their father or with men. In fact, they're pretty much related. And so this woman chased a lot of bad men, had a lot of bad experiences.
Tumadri says some only think of them in self-preservation mode, even over their own children. Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's just true. Yeah, it's about self-preservation at all costs. And I can't blame women because this is an evolutionary thing. It's not necessarily their fault. They're very much a slave to their instincts. It's not really their fault, but we shouldn't give them power and like voting power and the ability to ream men through costly court systems and stuff like that because they're going to abuse that power.
And now they blame all men. This is femcel behavior. If an incel comes out and says, oh, all women are bad, they all suck, they're all sleazy, they're all loose. If a man says something like that, people would say, oh yeah, you're being an incel. What's your problem? Who hurt you?
Some of my guy friends gave me permission to make a Hinge account for him because I was telling him how easy dating is with dating apps.
And it is easy for them. It is. And if you're a man, do not touch dating apps. Do not touch dating because they're not set up they're just, first of all, dating apps are 80% guys in the first place. And it's 20% women. So you're already going up against the numbers. Second, it's completely a looks game, and women find 90% of men well below average in the looks department. How does that work? Well, women are bad at math and stuff. And it's not set up for guys. You just want women. You just want, even if you are good looking, you will get laid probably, but well, you guys keep doing it. If you're in that top 10% and you're like really good looking and you want to go out and get laid, I don't really have a reasonable argument for you to stop. Don't do that. It would be smart if you did not do that, right? On a society level, it would be good if you didn't have a harem, because polygamous societies always collapse on themselves, right? When there's a glut of single men who can't form families and establish society, then there's always war and stuff like that. That's why in China, there's 30 million more bachelors than there are single women, right? And most of them have zero money. And this is going to cause societal collapse or a war, probably both. Don't do that. I don't know. Don't do that. You should get married. You should jump on the grenade, right? And you should contain one woman. A woman is a fire. A woman is a fire, and we are the only entity that can put that fire out, or at least contain it, right? You can't really put it out. But if you just let it burn, it's going to catch other women on fire. They're all going to form a big ass bonfire, and it's going to burn themselves to death, and the rest of us with it. So you have to jump on that. You have to. It is your duty. It is your sacred duty as a man to contain one, reproduce, and keep society going. That is your duty, right? But a lot of people, they shirk their responsibilities these days. Even if they're in a relationship with a girl or something like that, they're like, we don't need to get married. We don't need a piece of paper from the government to, because it's like, Luz, you are fucking wrong and you are stupid, right? Because sure, she might agree with you. Oh, it's not a big deal that we're not married. She's lying. She is lying to you. All right. That piece of paper is deeply important. It's deeply important to her, right? That's why the government wanted to be so involved in marriage in the first place, right? I'm not saying the government should be involved in marriage. I don't think they should, but they are. And so that's where we are right now. But not getting married is a very bad idea. There's no reason for them to stay, especially if you don't have any kids or anything like that. And then it gets complicated if you do have kids and you're not married, right? Then you don't have any legal right to your own children, and then it can get very messy if there is a situation. Okay? You have been encouraged not to get married because the government does not like the nuclear family. The nuclear family is the only thing that can take down the government. It is the most powerful thing in society. It is the cell of society, right? And it needs to be taken care of and fostered. And not like gay marriage, because that means nothing. But like actual male and female progenitive marriage. It needs to be saved, and it needs to continue. So if you've been with your girlfriend for like 8 years and you're not going to get married because we don't need the government, you're a fucking idiot. You're a fucking stupid asshole idiot.
And he was telling me that it's incredibly difficult. I've been a virtual boy for 3 days, and I've never felt this bad about myself. I feel like a freaking loser trying to get these girls to like me. See, Pete's about a 6, but I'm so desperate. I'm liking the 2s and the 3s, and even they won't like me back. Pete, which is a 6.
So what is this girl? She might be a 7.4. That's what I would give her. she's not like an 8 or a 9 because she's just not, I don't know, she's not my type. She looks to be relatively fit and young enough, so she's checking a lot of boxes, but she's not blowing my mind, you know? So she says Pete's like a 6, and I'm sure she thinks she's a solid 10. 10 out of 10 every day, all day long. But she ain't, right? She ain't. She's a good 7. She's a 7.2, 7.3, maybe. But don't tell her that, because you tell any woman they're anything less than a 10, and they will just straight up not believe you. They just will not believe you. So don't do that. Don't do that, right? Sometimes lying to women is appropriate. I don't agree with lying to people. But come on, sometimes you have to. Like, just to keep peace in the house, sometimes you just fucking have to.
He's already dead.
So what level of delusion has entered women's head?
She's cute. She's cute. She's not, but here's the thing about a woman being traditionally attractive, or let's just say normally attractive. She has no real sense of what it's like to be a man, because an ugly woman has a much better idea of what it's like to be a man than a pretty woman does. A pretty woman will never have to work a day in her life. She'll have everything handed to her. The education system is tailored specifically towards women. Society has basically made women a protected class of people. So if all of that on top of already being pretty, you have it fucking made, right? You have it made. So she's just learning now what it's like, just getting a little taste of what it's like to be a man. But a lot of women who transition to become men, which is, they don't realize until it's far too late how difficult being a man is. They become deeply isolated, which most men are. Most men are deeply isolated people. That's just because that's how we're programmed. We're not societal like that, right? Jess will go and strike up conversations with literally anybody. And like, she'll become best friends with a mom in the bathroom or at the playground or something like that. And it's not going to be a problem for her, right? When I go to the gym, let's say, I have never spoken to another person at the gym. I have never done that. And I don't want to do that. It's not my thing. I don't want to do that. I just don't. I don't want to fucking talk to you. I don't. Right? I have my family. That's where I get my social needs met. And that's all I need. That's literally all I need. Women are designed to keep society and the community, the village together, right? That is their role, okay? Their role is to raise the young ones in a community setting. And so they are very good at speaking to each other, at least on a superficial level, right? Because once women become friends on that superficial level, if it gets too much deeper than that, they start to fight. So they have that. Men, on the other hand, when they become friends, like true friends, they are very true and deep friends, and it's very difficult to break that. But women change friends all the time.
And this is the common pattern that you're going to see with a lot of these posts. It's a lot of women who have made bad choices. And
Nora says, I don't agree with lying to people. He lies. Well, there you go.
A lot of it is their own fault. I
Sometimes you
got
to
to
do things,
here,
man.
Where it's,
I mean, sometimes you just have to do things, you know? Tell me you've never lied once in your life. Tell me you've never lied. Not once. Like your girlfriend is like, or your wife says something fucking stupid and you're all like, I agree with you. You've never done that?
Says, why are our
I don't
standards
believe you.
of men's behavior so low? It makes me so deeply upset. I have seen the women in my life over and over make up for a man's shortcomings, be way more resilient, hardworking, spiritual, compassionate, open, and a plethora of other things that are admirable. I'm getting to the point where I'm starting to build a real resentment and genuine.
Hog Dog says, I'm so glad I'm not in the dating pool. You poor singles. I'm too old for that shit. Yeah, I'm glad I'm married. I'm very glad I'm married. I'm very happy I'm married because it seems like it sucks out there, right? And I'm not like the worst catch. I don't think so. I don't want to be like braggadocious or whatever. I don't think I'm the worst, but still, it seems pretty rough out there. It seems like not something I want to be a part of in the least bit. I am not interested. I don't want to do that. I really, really, really don't want to do that. But it sucks if you're like 18 years old, right? And you have to be a part of the dating pool and go out there and try to, and then this is what you're faced with. This is what you're faced with. I can understand just, recoiling and then just retreating into your dark room with your computer and then your hot pockets or whatever you like. And then just that being your life from then on. And that's what a lot of men do, unfortunately. And it seems like a waste of a life, but I mean, what do you really expect of them? Magic? They have all these societal pressures working against them. Even young men can't make as much money as young women these days, which is like ridiculous because women don't want to date down. That's very, very important. Women do not want to date a man who makes less than them. That's very specific, right? And or less educated than them. But all these women are going and getting these fake degrees from these institutions called colleges, which used to be colleges, but now they're just diploma mills that don't actually teach anything valuable. And then they get hired by companies for, I don't know, gender inclusivity and get six figures. And a man at a similar age, let's say 24, 25, just is not able to compete yet. So what are they supposed to do? They really can't do anything. It's a shame. Society has been built this way on purpose. This is no accident. This is not just women gaining power because they're finally breaking the glass ceiling. No, this is a highly orchestrated, societal-wide depopulation event.
Genuine disgust and dislike towards men. However, the other half of my brain knows that this is wrong and that I can't generalize a whole population of people. I find all this very, very funny, but I also like here where she says, the other half of my brain, oh, you mean the rational half? Knows this is wrong. And to be fair, she is asking, like, how do I change my silly behavior, right? That's one thing. But the deeper you go into this dark rabbit hole of r/2x chromosomes, r/female dating strategy, and other subreddits like it, the more you notice just how
Arden Share says, if you can't decide to marry, the answer is always no, nothing will change, and says more about you not being able to make decisions. Yeah, yep.
Steeped in massive toxicity, these places really are.
There's nothing wrong with being a virgin either. Especially for women, virginity is something you should hold dearly. But obviously they watch these movies and these shows and stuff like that, which glamorizes being a slut. And then they idolize these people like the Kardashians who have sex videos and stuff like that. And again, this is not an accident. This is a highly orchestrated plot against all of Western society as a general depopulation. It weakens society. It weakens us as a whole. Not an accident. Not an accident.
I had been tracking the femcells for what felt like weeks. I was not prepared for the darkness that I would encounter.
All right, this is good. This is the first sign I've seen of the femcells in weeks. Looks like a USB cord. USB-C. Thanks to those commies in the EU. It's going to be impossible to tell what this belongs to. Could be an iPhone. Your average Giga Stacy's using an iPhone, buying all the latest products. Couldn't be. The new iPhone doesn't have a
Mine has the old flash charger. I would prefer the USB-C. It's universal. I have a bunch of them, and it won't cost me $35 to replace.
USB port. This is definitely a femcell dropping. This is definitely a sign of femcells. They're probably using a Galaxy Note or something. Nerds.
It would appear that the femcels were congregating in deadly echo chambers, forums and spaces online, where criticism and negativity against women of any sort was not allowed. But criticism, anger, and even hatred against men was not only allowed, but encouraged.
So women on Reddit hate the men on Reddit. How fucking shocking. Reddit is a deeply liberal echo chamber, right? And so all the men on Reddit have wrists that are like this wide. They're very weak men, right? And not just physically, mentally, they are also weak, right? And so they'll read like Marx and stuff and be communists and shit, because leftism, liberalism, communism comes from a lack of confidence. It's a lack of ability to take charge of your own life. So you have to make the government take care of you, right? It shows that you are not confident enough to take charge in your own life. And so you want the government to do it for you. So no wonder that the women on Reddit hate the men on Reddit, because there's no real men on Reddit. That's a fact. That's just, and it comes from a place of insecurity that they can't conquer their challenges just alone. That's why liberals and leftists are very herd-like animals, right? When the media tells them to do something and they see all their other pack doing it, they will inherently do it despite any thoughts to the otherwise. Like it doesn't matter if it's a bad idea. If the pack is doing it, they're going to do it, right? They're herd animals. They're like zebras. Yeah.
I knew that I was getting close. The only question was, would I be there in time to save a life?
I saved a life. My own.
Now, one of my biggest takeaways from this investigation was that platforms like Reddit are a massive echo chamber. Reddit itself is known for this. They are an extremely left-wing platform to an absurdly extreme degree. One of the top posts on Reddit, for example, was, "I voted for Kamala." This got 36,000 upvotes, like 23 Reddit golds, 4,000 comments, people saying, "Good job, you voted Kamala." And this was on r/pics. Meanwhile, somebody put "I voted" in r/pics, and they voted for Donald Trump, and they were banned from the subreddit permanently.
Banned.
Hello, you have been permanently banned from participating in r/pics because your post violates this.
So you got 36,000 likes and then you vote for the other guy and you get banned. I mean, that is that they're not even trying to hide that. I don't know how people on Reddit don't clearly see this, but there is plenty of people on Reddit that just do not understand, and they think this is the general consensus and stuff. And when Trump did win, they could not believe it. They're all like, then they started to ask, am I in an echo chamber? Because he won the popular vote, and people on Reddit think they're doing what the people want. Because remember, leftists are about group dynamics, right? They want to be in group. That's very important to them. Republicans, people on the right, tend to be more individualistic. So it doesn't really matter, what the group is doing to them. But for the people on the left, they need to have the popular vote. It's very important to them. And if they don't have that, it shakes them to the core. And that's what this last election did. Interesting.
This community's rules. which is absolutely absurd. This really shows you just how far the bias on Reddit really goes. I think a good example of this is how after the election, there were several posts that got a lot of upvotes on Reddit where liberals and leftists were asking essentially, if you voted for Donald Trump, why did you do that? Trump supporters, why did you support Donald J. Trump for president?
Mr. Frog, why are you so evil? You have 1 second to respond.
Hello,
Time's up, plus you're wrong.
And the most amazing thing happened. Essentially speaking, Redditors were really confused because when they were asking for opinions from Trump supporters, there was no Trump supporters in the comments. Taking a look here, a Reddit user named FullCommission4643 says, I keep coming to these subs, hoping to read the replies from actual Trump supporters, but I'm only finding anti-Trump people participating. I'd really like to hear it from MAGA mouths. Come on, Trump voters, say something. For those who don't fully understand the context, let me make it really simple. Redditors were shocked that when they were asking for the opinions of Trump supporters, not a single Trump supporter showed up. Why is that? Because Reddit banned them all.
Alright, let's see what this is about.
I got banned from a lot of subreddits, and then they just banned me from the site as a whole because I was dropping truth bombs, and I was doing it hard. I don't go back to Reddit. I really should. I should really farm out Reddit for like material and stuff like that. Just does that, and she is in the wildest groups, right? The wildest subreddits where it's like moms trying to trick their sons into becoming trans by like putting hormones into their cereal in the morning because they don't want to do it voluntarily. And they need to have something that they can take to the PTA meeting and tell them how this is a form of Munchausen syndrome by proxy. That's what this is. They are intentionally making their son sick so they can get attention and sympathy from the community. This is Munchausen syndrome by proxy. That's exactly what that is. And it's encouraged. It's deeply encouraged, right? Women are encouraging their sons to cut off their fucking dicks, man. It's wild. It is wild just for a little bit of clout. Internet clout, no less. Not even real clout at the country club or at the PTA meetings or the HOA meeting or whatever Karen bullshit you're going to go to, right? It's just imagination. The internet's not a real place. It's not a place we can all meet up and go and fist fight. If it was, it'd be a lot more civil. It really would. But it's not. It's not a real place. So you changing your life or somebody else's life based on what the internet says is just fucking nonsense. And it's ridiculous for you to do.
Essentially speaking, if you're a conservative, you are banned from Reddit. Hell, I know a lot of liberals. Like, I have liberal friends who were banned from Reddit for saying things like there are only 2 genders, or I think that women's bathrooms should be for women, or things like this. You know, like...
they are for women, right? Well, trans women are women too. Why you be a bigot? You know, we're going to trans women. If trans women are women, why do they need to get surgery? Why do they need surgery? Normal women don't need surgery. Or I'm sorry, cis women don't need surgery. Or whatever the fuck you want to call it. It doesn't matter, right? If you need to have like an operation, it costs $30,000 just so you can vaguely look like something you're trying to approximate. You're just not it, man. You're just not it. Some people want to put like vampire teeth in and stuff. Or they want to put like whiskers in and pretend they're a lion or a tiger and shit. That doesn't make them a tiger, right? They spend a lot of money deforming themselves, but they're still not a fucking tiger. You know, I'm sorry. This is beating a dead horse. I understand that. We've already discussed that. Fuck it. We're going to discuss it again. Not right now, though.
Pretty average, everyday kind of opinions. These are things that 90% of people, if you were to go out and...
Reddit bans the Donald forum for nearly 800,000 Trump fans over abusive posts. I remember the Donald. It was the only good subreddit. The only good subreddit on Reddit. Even the ones that were non-political, like pics or what have you. I don't even remember most of them. They were deeply political. Deeply, deeply political. And all of Reddit, every moderator on Reddit, and I know you, when I say Reddit mod, you have a very specific type of person pop into your mind, and that would be completely accurate. Every mod on Reddit or every subreddit is modded by at most maybe 30 or 40 people. Tops. Every single subreddit on Reddit is modded by a very close-knit group of people. Who are they? You're not allowed to know that. I think we all know who they are or what country they come from, but we're not allowed to say that. Okay? But it's pretty clear. It's pretty clear.
Public and ask them, they would agree with. But Reddit is so biased and kind of so like radicalized towards one side that if you even dare question these things, you are banned 100%. So I think one of the best examples of bias on Reddit is r/news. r/news is the 14th largest subreddit on the website with 29 million members. Now, although it's supposed to represent news in general, effectively all of the news posted is left-wing and anti-Republican, anti-conservative, and anti-right, even anti-liberal.
You can't keep getting away with it!
In one of the most disgusting and biased moves I've ever seen on Reddit, r/news moderators recently removed every single reference to the story of Laken Riley. For those that don't know, Laken Riley was an American woman who was murdered by an illegal migrant while she was out jogging. This happened on February 2024. She managed to call 911 during the attack and unfortunately led to her passing away. Recently, her killer was put behind bars and is going to be spending life in prison. r/news removed every single post about this story. On r/news, there are absolutely zero search results. If you look at the
Not suspicious at all.
The verdict, the post
who is really, I don't know why. Fuck it. I do know why. Damn it.
has been locked and the post was removed by moderators of r/news. And this, my friends, is what an echo chamber looks like. It is very sad when an innocent young woman loses her life, but Reddit is angry that this story is being talked about. On r/2x chromosomes, people were angry that people were talking about this story instead of blaming men and calling all men evil. On r/2x chromosomes, a user literally claimed that the reason that he did this crime wasn't because he
didn't kill her because he was undocumented, right? They like to control the speech, so they say undocumented, which is I mean, just untrue. He's in the country illegally. If he wasn't here illegally, he wouldn't have murdered this girl. There's undocumented means nothing because he has plenty of documents, right? But they just say he's not supposed to be here. Undocumented is untrue, right? It is illegal. He still has like a driver's license and stuff. He can still vote in California. They are not undocumented. They are all documented. Heavily documented, right? They all have cell phones, for God's sakes. They're not undocumented. They are illegal. There is a very specific, very important difference. Okay, and then they say he killed her because he is a man. Okay, fine. Okay, let's go back to the Victorian era where women cannot step outside of their houses without being accompanied by a man, lest they be considered whores or just want to be murdered and stabbed to death, right? Let's go back to that because it seems like women crave that kind of society, right? It seems like that. It really does. They want all this power and stuff, and then they make these decisions, which makes it dangerous for them. And then it's somehow men's fault in general. This is just women not being able to accept any sort of liability, any sort of responsibility at all. It's just That's what it is not being able to accept responsibility. It's fucking up your own bed and then being like, I didn't do it, but you did. You did do it, and you don't want to fix it.
Was quote unquote undocumented, but because he was a man who simply wanted to hurt a woman. And in this country and many others, most of / all men apparently want to hurt women every single day because women are not valued and because men want.
This is also part of the education. The education system is a problem too, because 70-80% of teachers are female, and they're usually pretty deeply left too. And even with the boys, a lot of young men or boys, male children, grow up in single mother households. So they don't have any sort of masculine type of influence in their life, not until at least they go to prison. But that's not positive. That's not positive in any way. But the same goes for women too. Girls who don't have any male influence in their life, they only have female influence in their life up until the age when, they should have gotten married off by their fathers, but no, they just go and become wild sluts and then blame men for everything because that's all they know. That's all they've ever known.
Want to hurt them all. This is an absolutely psychotic statement, and I'm honestly shocked that anyone would post this.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
You would think that a statement like this would be massively ratioed or mocked or rightly condemned, but no, the post actually has 1,400 upvotes, and everyone in the replies is saying that she is completely correct, and that the reason he did this is because he's an evil man, and not because he was a criminal illegally in the country. The reason I call places like r/2X chromosomes deadly echo chambers is because instead of talking about the real issue of open borders and people illegally entering the country, they instead want to make this a gender issue and blame men and call men bad and evil. This innocent woman, in my opinion, should never have lost her life. And if it wasn't for deadly echo chambers like r/2X chromosomes and Reddit, maybe she would still be alive. And this is a bitter pill that nobody wants to swallow, because it would mean accepting the fact that maybe it's not that men are evil, but that these people have stupid beliefs. And they vote for stupid policies that endanger everyone and endanger women themselves. I'll never understand why these people seem to care more about their politics than about the public safety and the lives of innocent young women. They care more about demonizing men than they do about protecting women. And I have to say, I disagree with this.
At this point, I felt the investigation was reaching a logical conclusion.
I'm currently hiding. The fem cells. I can hear them out there. They're chattering.
They're gasping for air, right? Because they're usually pretty heavy, and they don't like being out in the wild. They like to be in their poorly decorated apartments. And
Tree argy. I think they're a bunch of hippie anarchists or something. I don't know what it means.
Platforms like Reddit, Facebook, and other social media apps had created a situation where all of the incels were banned, but none of the femcells were, and this created echo chambers, allowing people to radicalize themselves with negativity, only hearing one side of the argument. And when you only hear one side of the argument, you are far more likely to go down the deep, dark rabbit hole of darkness and hatred. The situation reminded me a lot of the Twitch adpocalypse.
Unless Twitch can come out and say, or he can come out and say, this is actually the reason why, and it's something that makes sense. Nah, bro, like whenever you have people like that one girl like upping the ante for like that bounty, and she's like, oh, it's a joke. Yeah, it's a joke, but what if one crazy person thinks it's not? You have another guy saying that people should Destiny. Like you have people, you know, that Frogan girl calling people crackers. Like, bitch, what the f you doing having them on the platform but Destiny's not? Like, I got no problem. You want to keep them here, bring them back
on
too.
Twitch?
That's fine.
Should I be on Twitch? Is that maybe I should be on Twitch. I don't know.
Hey, let's have everybody. Let's have free speech. Let's have everybody on the platform, but don't go and play sides.
So I just want to use this part of the video to give you my overall thoughts. I think that platforms like Reddit are essentially massive echo chambers, and I think they do a lot of harm. This is a little known secret among...
Ramsey also says, hey, Asmongold. Yeah, I've been watching a little bit of Asmongold lately. And yeah, I have been watching. He's got some good material. He's got decent takes on stuff.
People who use the internet, but 90...
Don't take me for being like, I fully support him because I haven't watched enough of his stuff. I watched a couple of his things. So I don't,
2 of the top 500 subreddits on Reddit, for example, are controlled by the same 4 people. And as you'll notice, the original post was in fact deleted by moderators. This is a dirty little known secret of the internet. This is actually the same thing that has happened on platforms like Wikipedia and other sites.
Wikipedia's neutral point of view is dead. These are the words of Larry Sanger, the co-founder of Wikipedia. He lays out several fundamental problems with Wikipedia today, the most important being its left-wing bias. Due to embracing the doctrine of avoiding false balance, the Wikipedia administration declares itself as the final arbiter of which facts are correct and which are false.
This is like George Orwell's book, 1984.
Is that a lot of these mods come in and they believe that they should control the entire internet. These people tend to be deeply mentally unwell and unstable.
Well, these mods are... It's not that they're unwell. It's that they're paid agents, right? These are controlled websites. These are controlled echo chambers. And who they're controlled by, that's up to you to decide. But they are part of an organization, some sort of intelligence agency that is using these sites to influence people, to influence people's thoughts, and it's all MK Ultra bullshit, right? So it's not grassroots, although it may look like that. If you're very deep into it, it may look like it's grassroots, and the people around you are also a part of it, but you're all just sheep. And yeah, it's deeply influenced. And they say the same thing about X, but I maybe they're right. I don't believe so though, but that's probably the argument they're making too. So, but I know they don't ban liberals on X. I know that for sure.
Stable. Now, I don't really care if you're on the right wing or the left wing, but I think you can admit that it is a massive problem when almost all of the social media websites have a situation where the same radical moderators are essentially controlling the narrative and the discourse.
Wait, are you a Redditor and you're a Discord admin? Oh my god.
It's absolutely ridiculous that we live in a world where people think that they can control the truth simply by censoring everything that doesn't make them look good. And this is extremely dangerous because either you should have equal enforcement. In other words, if Reddit is going to ban things like r/incels or the Donald, it should also ban subreddits like r/2x chromosomes.
There was one subreddit on Reddit called r/brat barn, and it was hilarious. It was a satirical take where people would post pictures of fat women and talk about how they're breeding brap hogs and harvesting from them for their farts. And it was hilarious. It was hilarious, and it was just a good time, but it got banned because it was demeaning towards women. So that's gay. that's gay and lame, because it was, again, like one of the best subreddits on there, right? It was like, and it was obviously just for fun. It wasn't political in any way. They were just making fun of fat chicks. Who can't enjoy that? Fat chicks? Who gives a shit?
Incel tears and so. Because I guarantee you that if you go to any of these subreddits...
I genuinely hate men. I genuinely hate men. See, you can't say I genuinely hate women because you're going to get demonetized or banned or whatever nonsense internet bullshit they have these days. But you can say shit like this because it goes with the narrative.
If you were to replace the term man with woman or male with female, you would immediately be banned and called a massive hateful bigot. This is simply the way it works.
This right here is the entrance to a femcel den. They'll tempt you with free beer, rock CDs. They'll say it's just in a cave here. Don't believe them.
At this point, the investigation had reached its natural conclusion. It was
Government
obvious to me
drones.
what was happening. Platforms like Reddit and culture and society were
Drones.
essentially pushing one narrative. The narrative that men are bad, and that they are the source of all of women's problems. Women at the same time are told exactly the same thing. What you effectively get is a snake eating its own tail. People are being turned into femcells because places like Reddit are telling them that men are bad and should be avoided at all costs. People are being turned into incels because platforms like Reddit are telling them that
it's true. It's weird that they're both on the same. They're both on the. And they did another subreddit called Incels Without Hate, where they just cried to each other about how black pill they were, and then people would still come in and bully the crap out of them, even though they were just sitting there feeling sorry for themselves, right? But people would still come in and berate them for being evil, misogynist men. Come into the subreddit and berate them, not like go out and like attack other subreddits or anything. No, just be like, oh, I really can't find a girl, and you know, it just sucks because I'm never going to make enough money and blah, blah, blah. And then people will be like, the whole site is just filled with trash human beings, and it's controlled by, you know, it's, I have to get back on Reddit. It's just too good. It's a gold mine of absolute the degeneracy and filth that society has to offer. It's the top of the bottom. That's what Reddit is. And I have to get back on. Jess is on there. She finds the best stuff. Like the most cringeworthy, the most despicable opinions that you have ever read in your life.
men are bad and should be avoided at all costs.
I created you. You created me.
Both sides end up becoming more divided.
Why do women only like jerks that treat them like shit? Why do guys only want bitchy bimbos who walk all over them?
Hate each other on the internet. And although men and women are different, that doesn't mean they can't come to an understanding. That doesn't mean that you can't find love. I think the most important thing we can remember is the internet is not real life. And if you...
My 27 male partner, 27 female, hates all men except me, and her comments are making me uncomfortable. Okay, you sound like a pussy. Like an absolute... That's probably why she hates you. Because your bench press is weak, and you can't stand up to your much larger girlfriend.
If you find yourself chronically online, the best thing you can do...
This one says, I hate being a man. Being a man, okay, I'm sorry you hate being strong and rational and like logical and shit. Oh, I'm so sorry. Not all men are logical and rational, though. But comparatively, they are strong, right? Even the weakest ones are stronger than basically all women. And women don't like that fact, but that is 100% true. Even like the weakest men could beat up 95% of women. Sure, there's a 5% that are pretty strong, like Marie, like Royce and Marie. Marie is pretty fucking strong, right? But she is by no means the average. She goes to the gym pretty often, but on the whole, overarching, men are much stronger than women, and it's like not even close.
Is to log off. Unfortunately,
we're out of time. We're out of time, you guys. Thanks for listening to me rant and nobody donating. Whatever, that's fine. I don't care. I mean, I care. I want you to donate, but at least I got to rant. I got to rant so much. That's how fucking passionate I am about this. Right? Because this is a societal problem that we need to fix as men. And maybe there's a lot of women in there. I don't give a shit. Whatever. Thanks for coming. I hope you guys have a great evening. I hope you learned something. I hope you guys take this with you and internalize it and see how you can fix this. You need to fix this too, right? This is a problem for all of us, not just for our generation, but for the generations succeeding us after this. This is a problem that's been brewing for a while now, and we We need to stamp it out. It's not even nipping it in the bud because it has flowered into this stinking rose of degeneracy that we currently live in today. So thank you so much for coming. And I hope you guys have a good night and a good morning tomorrow. I'll be on Daywave and then right back here on the Sulk stream at 8 p.m. And I hope to see you guys there. Maybe you can donate, maybe not, whatever. I know it's next to Christmas, and so it's kind of tough, so I understand. If you need to save for Christmas, please don't donate. Save for Christmas. Buy your kids a gift. That's much more important than donating to me. I honestly, I'm being 100% serious. But you guys, thank you so much for coming. You know I love you, and I think you're handsome, and I think you're beautiful, and you make my life better in every single way. So you go out there and make your life better too. Drink some water, get a good night's sleep, and take care of yourselves because I care about you too. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Love you. Good night.
I'm an incredible soul. I'm an incredible soul. Unhinged and enraged like a bulldog's just growl. I'm spitting fire, burning through these trees, questioning the world, unraveling conspiracies. Talking about Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster too. Government lies, they're feeding me their goo. I'm diving deep into this rabbit hole, uncovering the truth, setting fire to their control. I got small nipples, but my voice is loud, roaring like thunder in this crazy crowd. They say I'm crazy, but I call it woke, unraveling the madness with every word I spoke.